All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 8 of Falling Forward Man in the Mirror. So, we created a podcast to use lesson learned to push through adversity. Michael Jackson said it best. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. This means the change starts with you. So, look at yourself first. So, I'm Phil. This is my brother Arnell, who's
No.
going to kick these things off for us. So, Arnell, I have a question for you, brother.
Yes, sir.
So, reflection. When people look in the mirror, why do you think most people see who they want to be rather than who they are?
It's a good question. Why do they see who they want to be instead of who they are? In some instances, some people may be manifesting their future self, which is a good thing. But probably in most cases, including mine, back when I was on my personal development journey, it was probably due to lack of self-assessment. You're scared to actually uncover those stones and see who you really are and where you really are. So I think a lot of times it's just hard to take constructive criticism, from yourself.
Right, that's good, man. You hit on something that, I'm gonna elaborate on. Like you said, I just feel like it's hard for people to kind of unpack those things that need to be kind of, evaluated. Um, I feel like that we're comfortable with a false narrative because it's not the ugly truth that makes us look bad. We want to look good. We have to do a self assessment, like you said, to shed light on awareness, meaning we have to be accountable to ourselves to evaluate why are we the ones that's stopping us from achieving the goal or removing things that distracting us. So, for example, I use my personal example. I used to dwell on past accomplishments and my image. However, I started journaling because I read some stuff and a lot of people were doing it. So I figured out that my thoughts were in the right place, but not my actions. They were
Mm.
lacking me actually taking the required steps. So just for the viewers, I just say, make a list of what needs to happen and how you plan on executing those things and remove the people and the things that get in the way and just
Right.
see things for what they really truly are.
That's good right there, man. All right, man. Yeah, I kind of had something similar, man. A question you just asked, maybe just in a different delivery. So, when things are going right in our life, Phil, why is it easy to look in the mirror and give ourselves that praise? But I guess a better question is, why do you think it's so difficult to look at the man or woman in the mirror when our circumstances aren't aligned with our vision of how things should be at that current state?
Mm.
So,
So go ahead.
oh no, I'm sorry. I was just going, if you need to clarify, if you want me to clarify that a little bit, I know it's kind of long.
Yeah, I would just say, praising is easy and it's hard to kind of like face the fact and bite that bullet when we aren't doing the things that we're supposed to do. Uh, a lot of times we don't really want to just deal with those things that we haven't done or we're not being a person that we're supposed to be. Uh, it just feels better and it looks better for everybody else when everything is going right. When things aren't going right, well, when things are going wrong, uh, we just want to bear it and we sometimes don't want to deal with it or don't know how to tackle it.
Mm, yeah, you said some good, man. When I heard what I just heard is confrontation. Like we don't want to have that confrontation with ourselves, man, because we know confrontation is gonna require some truth to be told.
Right.
Whether it's on the left or the right, man. And I think a lot of people run from that because at the end, once you shed all those layers back, the only thing left there is going to be the work. And it's easy when things are going well, man, but you really don't learn from them circumstances. So I think if things come naturally to people and they don't have to do the work, then they mask actually I guess putting in the time and effort, man. So I just think people are scared of doing the work.
Right. I totally agree. I definitely can relate to that. So in reference to my previous question, far as accountability. When we look in the mirror, do you think people look past themselves to see others to blame?
Mm, absolutely. Yeah, including myself, man. And sometimes that blame is relevant for other people. But at the end of the day, you got to understand that every decision, where you are in life, and begins and ends with you. So you can let those things that happen to you by somebody else dictate, your thought process and your mindset. But, when it comes down to it, man, we're to blame and we're to praise in every situation by how we internalize that. So,
That's great, man. I like the way you think, man. Like you said, sometimes when you look in the mirror, it's not always your fault. It is, the blame can be on someone else, but like, what are you gonna do about it? Or you can't throw a pity party. You got to pick yourself up and keep moving forward. So, I also feel like, it feels better to point the finger, not realizing that we have fingers pointed back at us. We give people way too much control in how situations play out. So, I have another example in my personal life. So I had a conversation with one of my friends about a dispute that, we had between us. And, I didn't take no accountability, pretty much. I told him that if he didn't say what he said, then I wouldn't have responded in that fashion. There was no accountability. All I was doing is blaming him, like, you shouldn't have said that, then I wouldn't say it, X, Y, Z. I reacted, but I should have responded by analyzing what took place and not allowing my pride and my ego and my emotions to control me. And we all know as men, our ego, that's something in our pride, man. We don't want when somebody get one over us, and we don't want to feel hurt and we don't want to feel disrespected and stuff. So those things right there really challenge us. But we gotta look within ourselves to have better control. So we all know that we can't control others or some situation, but we can control how we react and respond,
mm,
which may not feel good at times. So, be accountable for your own action.
man, yeah, you said a lot of good words there, man. And ego, emotions, and things of that nature, man, that'll get us in trouble every single time, bro. And like you said, man, just responding and not reacting. And that's something that just comes with experience and growth, man. So that's a great point to touch on, brother. Because I used to be a hothead. I was in the military, bro. I'll be out there. I'm lucky still to be alive, man. I had instances where I was acting like a boy instead of a man,
Mm,
just by my actions, man. And by the grace of God, bro, um, I was able to make it home. Somebody else was able to make it home that evening, man. But you're right. You got to respond and not react, bro.
Roy. Hey, I just think you just gave us a title of another episode. Another episode. Boy, not a man.
Ooh,
That's good right there, man. But go
ooh.
ahead with your question. Go ahead with your question.
All right. All right. So, do you think it's hard to change the perception of self, specifically that man or woman in the mirror, when we only focus on manipulating our external environment versus our internal? Specifically, do you think it's hard to change who we perceive ourselves to be when we're worried about external factors and not working inside of self?
You know, I think that just kind of relate to what you just said with growth, man. I think it is very challenging for us to do that because we're so focused on the outer and not the inner. But we work on the inner, I think everything will fall in place. And with growth, we know that we have to take the necessary steps to do what we need to do to become better people.
Mm, absolutely. And I think they coincide, man. So you don't know to work on the inner until you have some failures on the exterior. You try different things and you see those failures, man. And then you have to have again, the word that keeps bouncing in my head is, self-assessment, man. So you look at the situation, and again, I know we talked about it before. We can't control the output, man. We can control our effort. We control the
Right.
input.
Right.
And so I think, especially nowadays, man, you look at social media, we want all this confirmation from people and all of that
Mm,
stuff, man. And I think as I get older, having your own affirmation of self, you know what I'm saying? Listening to yourself, listening to God, man, you'll see that that confirmation from the exterior ain't as important as we think it is.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I've been there too, man. I used to look for people to kind of like praise me, give me that a boy type stuff, they used to kind of add fuel to my fire. But, as I got older, I realized that didn't matter as much. I had to kind of like do that for myself because it don't always be there. So what do you do when it's not there? And a lot of times, you kind of get in a sunken place. You don't receive that praise, then you feel cheated and you feel less than, you know what I'm saying? So, definitely doing it for self, actually, do it for me now.
Yeah. I'll just jump in one more time, man. Like I still struggle with ego now, bro. Like I know, people tell us to be humble, but we do have to be confident. And then sometimes I think that in certain situations, man, like you said, if you don't get certain praise or you'll say, hey, I'm just gonna be humble, but like I still will say certain things that I know I need to work on. Like, yo, why'd you even say that? They didn't even ask you about that, and you still gave that information because you still want that affirmation of some extent. And so I'm not sitting here saying that I'm far past that stage, man. Like I still notice little things. It's not overt, but I notice little things like, come on, bro. Like, why'd you even do that? You know why you asked that question because you wanted
Right.
some feedback. So, man, that's just to let the viewers know, man. I'm a work in progress, bro, and I'm trying to get better every single day.
Bad, no doubt. Okay. So this last question, you know what I'm saying? Make sure I don't confuse you the way I word it. So it's dirty mirror. So what's the importance of using a mirror of reflection of someone who will be honest and keep it real no matter what, versus someone who will say what you want them, what you want to hear?
Mhm. Great question. Oh man, I think we got to ask ourselves what we're asking for when before we even approach that situation. So sometimes people want feedback and not because they want you to be honest, they want that confirmation. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So you just got to ask yourself what it is you want. If you want real constructive feedback, I'll be willing to say 9 times out of 10 it's gonna hurt. It's gonna be
mm,
uncomfortable and it's gonna make you not feel well, man. But if you know if it's coming from somebody that loves you, you gotta utilize that type of mirror because it's only gonna make you grow. You know what I'm saying? So if you get, I guess distorted from the person just telling you what you want to hear, man, it's gonna keep you stagnant and it's gonna keep you in those self lies. It's gonna keep you um just trapped where you're at as a person, man. Keep operating under that same software that you've been operating under. But if you want to upgrade, you got to get uncomfortable, you know what I'm saying? And get with the people that's gonna tell you the hard truth.
Man, that's great, man. I think you just kind of summarized my input, but I'll go ahead and share it. That was real good, man. That's great insight. So I would just say, dishonesty will create a false image of you that keeps you in a place that doesn't allow you to grow. Similar to some things that you said. And honesty, it exposes your weakness while revealing how your strengths can assist you to overcome while holding you accountable. So
Ooh,
you
that's
can
good.
learn and grow through the process. So I got my last example of my life. So I asked two different friends about my discipline because I've been struggling with discipline. And I got this little man on one shoulder and saying one thing, and I got this man on the other shoulder saying another thing. But the friends that I asked, they on two different ends of the spectrum, and they got exactly what I've been thinking in my mind. So what I would say to this honest friend said that I'm going through a lot and I have a lot going on that interfere with the things that I want to do. Those things felt good, but I remained in the same place. It didn't really help me out as much though. But my honest person, my blunt person, that friend right there, they said that what I'm doing is I'm making excuses so I won't have to do the work that's required to be done. So decide if I want to actually execute or if I just want to sound like I'm making moves. Man, now this didn't feel good, but it showed me that I had something to prove to myself though. I didn't feel like I had something to prove to them. I had something to prove to myself because I realized I was just letting myself down. So when I was looking in the mirror, I was like, you know what? What you really want to do? Do you want to talk the talk, or do you really want to do this? So that
Mm,
was some great feedback that the honest friend gave me, though.
man, that's great, man. And what I heard was love. People who love you, man, ain't gonna let you stay the same.
Right.
Even if that feedback may cause you to separate from them and be estranged for a little while, man. That's good. You got that good friend, man. Oh man. That's great insight from them. All right, my last question, man, is excuse me. Give me 1 sec, bro. And I feel you on the struggling with the discipline part, man. I kind of had some struggles this week with the gym. Um, how can those of us, including me, including you, change the man or the woman that we see in the mirror and get past years of negative programming, of indoctrination, of self-limiting beliefs, and really, man, just overall doubt? Like, how can we what are some actionable steps to get past who we are or who we perceive ourselves to be in the mirror?
Man, ooh, that's good. I'll just say this, and I'll just use my personal experience. I got pulled into a pit at one part of my life, and it just seemed like so much was going wrong. And I started blaming myself and blaming my past for all these things that took place. I had to talk to someone. I seek counseling and stuff. And doing that counseling, what it did, it helped me to accept those things that was my fault or that wasn't my fault. And if it wasn't my fault, it allowed me to make peace with it by forgiving that person that allowed those things to happen to me in my life. So I had to forgive myself for doing certain things, and I had to forgive others. So that helped me unpack it so I can just kind of wipe a clean slate. With that being said, I used to tell myself, I'm not that person that I was anymore. I'm not that person that people seen, back in the day. And like me and you don't have a bunch of discussion about it. Like, we go back home with some of our army buddies or whatever, like, man, Phil, man, Arnett, I remember when you XYZ. I'm not that same person. And I used to have to stop people in their tracks. Like, that's not me no more. That's like 15, 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the
Right,
person
right.
I am. And it's crazy how people don't see who you are now. They hold on to some of the things that you used to do. So in summer, you have to just accept those things, forgive yourself, forgive others, and wipe a clean slate and move forward and speak to yourself of who you are and what you're gonna do and execute.
Damn. That's I ain't even gotta get my feedback, bro. That was a hell of an answer, man. Damn, forgiveness. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, I know we're running low on time, man. I appreciate that was an awesome answer. I know we probably both have some takeaways, man. If you want to go ahead and just a couple key takeaways that you had from our session today.
Cool. Real quick, I'll say don't change your identity, which is who you are, to please others, because you're only pretending. Be yourself 365 days. Stop being what you're not for the like of others because you become a victim. And the last thing is don't rely on others to do the work of life that you need to do for yourself. You owe that obligation to yourself.
Ooh, you owe you, as my brother ET said. Damn.
Yeah.
Hey, good words, my brother. So for me, man, the man in the mirror signifies a mindset, meaning we must understand that we are where we are in life because of our current operating system. Basically, we need to see things. If we want to see things differently, we got to change our paradigm.
Mm.
Um, Another thing that I take away I had is we should first look to influence and alter the inner reality before we focus on the external things that we really can't control. All we can control is our effort, and we got to let God handle the output. You know what I mean? And so the last thing that I want to touch on is changing one's mindset. Again, we keep talking about mindset is the catalyst to changing your perception. So the man in the mirror is the ability, in my opinion, to change or have enough courage to engage in that internal conflict. We talked about confrontation, engage in that internal conflict with oneself, and ultimately understand that changing your thoughts, your mindset would afford you with the opportunity to change your life. So if you're battling with anything right now, you got to change your mind. You got to get around the right people, like Phil said, that's going to hold you accountable, and you got to forgive people. You got to forgive and let go. So did you have any other thoughts, man? Final thoughts before we signed off?
Oh no, man. I think you did pretty well, man.
All right. Well, hey, this is a Falling Forward podcast, episode 8, Man in the Mirror. Your boy Phil, your boy Arnell. And we're gonna catch y'all next week. Peace.